Out on the Murray today, one of my favourite camping spots, as if you watch the channel often enough you know that. But I tell you what, that Murray River is so high. I don't think I've actually seen it this high in, well, a bloody long time. It seems really high. I thought I'd show you a couple of things. There's been a few comments about the vehicle and different things that I've done to it. And I got thinking about what I could do a video this week, and I got thinking, everybody is different. The camper trailer is coming along really well. I'm very happy with different mods that I've done to this. This was it 23.0? I don't know what you'd call that. It hangs directly there on the awning rail, and it's magnificent. Absolutely love that thing. I wish I got one before. If somebody made one that had like a toiletries thing in there, like a mirror, so I could shave my head and stuff in the mornings, that would be pretty good. I currently use the towing mirrors on the car to do that if I need to. But there's not too many other things that I've done to this. What I do want to do, and I've mentioned it in a couple of videos before, I need to do something with the lights. The lights are only like way down here, nice and low, which is good if you're just doing stuff right here, but you're not doing that all the time. It's often out here. I might have to put something on the awning, maybe, or maybe something up here on the cage, on top of the cage. I'm not sure. If you've got any ideas, let me know. And I'm kind of hitting a bit of a wall as to what sort of lights I could do here. I do have the lights that I've reviewed here on the channel before. They're like individual lights, and they work well, and they're perfectly fine for the interim. Like most people who do this sort of stuff, we like to play and modify things, so that's what I'll end up doing here. I was going to show you a couple of things here on the vehicle. I've been asked a few questions. Oh, something I didn't tell you. On the way out here today, don't see it very often. There's a couple of pine trees that I drive past on the way to this spot here, and there's a heap of pine cones there on the ground, so that's perfect for starting fires. I've got a few there, probably got half a dozen or so. If you don't know, like, they are just sensational kindling, and they burn for ages. When it comes to things that I've done to this, and I'll say this about every content creator that's out there, you do what is right for you. Don't you do something to your vehicle just because your favorite YouTube creator has done something, because none of them are bloody experts, or very few of them are experts, and what they're doing is perfect for them. And what I've done with this is perfect for me. So not everything that, you get what I'm saying. And when it comes to the setup that we have here, we bought the cruiser for towing. We bought this to tow a horse float. That was the original purpose of this vehicle. Then as time went on, I ended up selling my Harley, because where we live, the roads are just frigging atrocious if you ride motorcycles. So I sold the Harley, and I've done this up to do a bit of touring. So keep that in mind. I've done this with my vehicle for touring and towing. And when it comes to the camper trailer, it's just to have some more comfort and a little bit of luxury. You can certainly get a lot more luxurious than that, but it's perfectly fine for what I'm doing. And that's the key to all of this. It's perfectly fine for what I'm doing. So you won't see me jacking this car up or raising it the 2 or 3 inches that so many people do for a functional reason. I may end up raising it a little bit later, and that's purely a vanity thing, because I think they look freaking cool when they're jacked up a little bit with a little bit larger wheels on, a little bit larger tires on there. But functionality wise, this does perfectly fine. I go to the high country a little bit. I spend most of my time out here though, and it's flat. Like the tracks and stuff that I come into and use out here, they're just boggy tracks occasionally. That's about it. I don't need to raise this vehicle from a functional point of view. I've only had a couple of times in the high country where I thought, oh, I'm bottoming out there a little bit. I don't want to go up this track, I'm not high enough. But it's not the end of the world, it really isn't, especially if you're on your own. So at the moment, it's just got standard suspension and airbags on the back. But if you're somebody who is going and doing rock climbing and things like this, you're probably going to want to raise it and do different things to your suspension. So many videos I've seen about four-wheel driving, they say, do this first, do the suspension first. But I've seen standard vehicles up in the high country do some pretty gnarly wombat holes without being raised. So you don't have to do that. It just depends on what you are going to do. Anyone that's got a Land Cruiser, you know these things are utility as fuck. They're just so basic. They're very agricultural. The few things that I've done to this is the center console. Everyone does that. Well, a lot of people do that. This is a, Cruiser Consoles one. And it cost me like $1,000 or something. There's not really much else in here I want to do, but I'd like your opinion on a couple of things. One is a roof console. I'm thinking about putting that up there for paper maps, for other knickknacks like UHFs and things like that. The other thing, I'll talk to you about that in a second. Other things that I've done in here, I've got this HEMA H2 Plus, and the jury's still out on it at the moment. The off-roading on this, the off-road GPS on this, I think is just fantastic. So far it has not let me down. I've been very happy with it. The on-road navigating is just a bit shite. I've put the a Sony head unit in here, and I just use Apple CarPlay when I'm on road. I use it that way. Other than that, in here, there's not really much at all. I've got a dash cam up there, but dash cams are a dime a dozen. You don't need to know about that. But in here, there is an awful lot of noise. If you own or you've been in a 70 Series Cruiser, you know they're pretty loud inside. I haven't done any sound deadening on this, and I'd like some input, especially if you have a 70 Series Land Cruiser. Have you done sound deadening on this? It's not something that, again, it's like the camper trailer. It's not something that I have to have. It's just more of a luxury sort of thing. I know it's a big job, and if you've watched this channel before, and I'll show you in a second what I've got in the back, I have to pull a lot of stuff out to do this. But if it's a significant saving of your ears, I want to know. At the front of the vehicle, there's not too much else that's changed if you have seen this before. But if you haven't, there's just two antennas, one there for UHF, one there for the what's it called, the NextG Wi-Fi thing. It's or whatever, it's Cell-Fi is what it's called. It's just to boost that signal. I think my overall experience with this is I had one fail. This one's working fine. It works with 4G. It's okay. It does a better job than not having it, but not by a lot, I don't think. The steady lights are fantastic. The steady light bar at the top there is bloody good as well. The only downside of the light bar on the roof, it does catch some reflection off the bonnet. I may end up putting a sun visor on there just to push it out past the bull bar. I do use it, but not as much as I use just the spots. And these spots go about 1.2 Ks. They're bloody awesome. One thing I'm not sure about with the front of the vehicle is a winch. I haven't got a winch on there. And when I was actually speaking to my mechanic, who's also the tyre guy in town, very, very good guys. Ash, if you're watching, bloody legend. I was talking to them about raising the vehicle, and the owner there, he said, I wouldn't raise it if I was you, Shane. Doing what you do on your own all the time, I'd be putting a winch on there first. Let me know your thoughts and what winch you have. Ocam tow mirrors, they're great. They're big. They make the car look like a little bit, I don't know, wider than what it is. It's a narrow car anyway. But I'll tell you what, if you've got a big like Land Cruiser or a big Patrol and you put these things on there, how wide is your car? Now with all of those things, you probably are already working out that you wouldn't have done something that way, you would have done it this way, but that's the choice that you make for your setup. My point of this video is don't listen to people just like me who are on your phone, computer, television, whatever it is right now, telling you this is the way I do it, so you should do it this way. That's not the case at all. You should do what is right for you and only for you. Solar screens in here, they are bloody awesome. I can't talk highly enough about these. The amount of heat that these keep out, and I've only got them on the back where the fridge and the fit out is in the back, the amount of heat that they keep out is magnificent. Absolutely love it. A lot of people talk about how these things fall off all the time. Right now, not one of those suction caps are holding onto the glass, not one. And I'll show you why. All the ones on the back here, all of these are held on, you may be able to see it, I'll show you in a minute. They're all the suction caps on, or the suction cups on these are all held on. But inside here, I've got these K-on cages on the side. Hopefully you can see that in here. these K-on cages, and when these solar shades fall off, the K-on cage, the moldy cages, hold it on really well. In the back here is a pretty good fit out. I've done a video dedicated just to the fit outs on this and just to the 12 volt system that I've installed in this, and nothing has changed from that. It is absolutely perfect for what I've got going on here. These are off-road systems, custom made for the 76 series, custom made for me as well. They build them to order, so you can move things around as you see fit. I move things around to include this little table here. They were going to put it up through here, so it was a bigger table, but there's not really a lot of depth to a 76 rear end, so I kept it a smaller table. When I'm just using the vehicle and no camper trailer, this is perfectly fine. K-on back shelf, K-on pet cage they call it. It's technically not a cargo barrier because it bolts onto the back seats. But everything else in here is just the way it was in that last video. A quick tip with these things, the solar screens, somebody mentioned on a video, because it popped off a couple of times, I would just spit on it, wet it, put it back up on the glass. And somebody mentioned in a video, and I can't remember who it was, I'm really sorry, and they said use oil. So each one of these little suckers have got that, just a drop of I think it was olive oil I used at the time, and they just don't come off. It works really well. The idea being, I believe, is that the oil doesn't dry out like a bit of spit wood or a bit of water wood, so they don't come off anymore. It's really good. Might be, if you haven't seen that back fit out before, you might be wondering about those lights. I didn't talk to you about them. Those lights here, well, these switches here are all for different lights. I've got the Travel Buddy there. Travel Buddy, if you haven't got one, you're sitting on the fence about buying one, buy it. They're bloody awesome. But these switches here, one is for the compressor in the back here, and the others are just for lights. All lights up here. So I've got these steady lights up here, these rock lights here. They're the ones for that there. And they light up a good amount of room. And I've got another two, I should say, on the right hand side of the vehicle and on the left hand side of the vehicle where the 30 second awning is. 370. What the bloody hell is a 370 awning? A 30 second awning, I've got a LED strip in there, and that lights up nicely under the awning when I'm just taking just the vehicle. The roof rack is a wedge tail roof rack from Tradesman Roof Racks. If you're in the market for a roof rack, I've done a video dedicated to that as well, more in depth than what I'll tell you here. It has been on the vehicle now for a good 18 months, and shit, it's good. I'm so happy with it. Nothing has come loose. I get up and check it all every couple of months, sort of thing. Check different nuts and different bolts, and nothing's ever coming loose. It's fairly lightweight. It's just really good. It's really well built. I think it's even made in Australia. To put all of this into perspective, all that fit out that's in that vehicle, and there's quite a bit in there, roof rack, snorkel, TJM snorkel I put on there. I don't know if I talked about that before. The TJM snorkel is the snorkel that you fit to a 70 series if you don't want to cut anything out. It fits, it's like take the old one off, put the new one in, don't need to cut any paneling. Versus a safari snorkel, you've got to cut paneling. And the safari snorkel, the intake, the smallest diameter on the air intake on the safari snorkel is the same as the TJM. So you're not losing or benefiting with either one that you're going to, you know. This one is just, it's quicker to install. So if you're doing this, you've just bought yourself a vehicle. Like my son right now is talking about buying a Patrol. What was it? He's looking at something like a 2004-ish sort of Patrol. If you've got one, what should he look out for and what shouldn't he look out for? What's the pros and cons of buying that car? It's a fairly big car. He's only driving a little sedan sort of thing, or a sporty little sedan at the moment. So give us some advice on that. I'm sure he'll watch this and read the comments. So if you've got any thoughts about a Patrol or a different sort of four-wheel drive, I think his budget's like 10 to 15 grand. So what's in that sort of budget range there that he could buy? Let me know. He'll read the comments and I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Anyways, I'm going to get a fire going and chill out for the afternoon. Catch you later.